Howdy, what's going on guys, and welcome to the video Genshin Impact. My name is Ventus. Alright guys, in this video I'm going to show you what worked for me to make CHONGYUN hit hard. As you can see on your screen, I decided to do this because CHONGYUN has some of the best combat animations for a DPS character and in the game overall, with ice blades that just shoot down from the sky and hammer down on an opponent after his basic combo string. For me, it wasn't just enough to make his normal attacks hit hard, I also wanted his ice blades to hit hard and hit for something substantial like 10k or better. It took a lot of trial and error, switching through different artifacts, full 4-piece sets, and multiple 2-piece sets. At first, I did try the Noblest set, which the 2-piece set bonus states that Elemental Burst, that's the ultimate attack, will deal extra damage. That might be true or a mistranslation, but I didn't see any real substantial damage. Now, what you see on screen is a combination of things. It's Sucrose and an Instructor 4-piece set using the thrilling tales of Dragon Slayers. Now, this might not seem like much at first glance, but using Sucrose in this way is actually very overpowering because of all the buffs that come along with her and her artifacts and weapon. Now, firstly, Sucrose herself has a talent called Catalyst Conversion. Now, before I get into these specifics, I want to apologize ahead of time if I read or understand something wrong and say it wrong. Regardless of the way I describe anything in this video, you can't refute the results of what I'm doing. So please, be kind in the comments. I'm just trying to help people by showing what I've learned after testing. Now, Sucrose herself has a talent, like I said, called Catalyst Conversion. And this states that when she triggers a swirl effect, characters in the party with the matching element will have their elemental mastery raised by 50 for 8 seconds. Now, I'm not sure if every time I utilize her that I activate Catalyst Conversion, but I can say for a fact that I saw different results when using her versus not using her. Now, along with Catalyst Conversion, she is using the thrilling tales of Dragon Slayers, which has the ability called Legacy, that states when switching characters, the new character taking the field has their attack increased by 48% for 10 seconds. This can occur every 10 seconds. Remember that 10 seconds part for later. And on top of those two buffs, because she is wearing the Instructor set, which people have reported there is a mistranslation of the description, so I can't be too sure because I have not been presented with any evidence to that rumor. The Instructor's set's 4-piece set bonus states that after using an elemental skill, it increases all party members' elemental mastery by 120 for 8 seconds. Now, some people have told me this was true. Others say that the buff only occurs when you trigger an elemental reaction. Either way, when using Sucrose in the way that I'm using her, you get the bonuses for both. It doesn't really matter. Now, Sucrose is just one part of this combination. The other part is Bennett. Bennett is a wished-for character who has an ability called Fantastic Voyage, which states if the health of the character in the circle, the Fantastic Voyage, is higher than 70%, they gain an attack bonus that is based on Bennett's own base attack. Base attack is comprised of two numbers, the character's own level-based attack score and their weapon. So in short, the higher you make Bennett's base attack, the stronger the attack buff to other characters inside Fantastic Voyage will be. The higher the character's attack score, the more damage they can potentially do. Now, after putting both of these characters on my team for their abilities, I had to make sure that CHONGYUN had the right gear. Like I said, I tried this combination with the Noblest set. I saw an increase in Elemental Burst damage, but nothing dramatic. Other guides I saw on Google suggest using full Brave set or full Gladiator set on CHONGYUN to get him to hit harder. They did, but only his basic normal attacks. They didn't do anything for his Elemental Burst, Cloud Parting Star, or his special attack, Layered Frost. I wanted those to hit hard. So I switched it to 2-piece Berserker and 2-piece Gladiator with one feather from the Maiden set that is literally the best feather that I had before I upgraded a 5-star Gladiator feather that I got by pure luck. Now, I think what's really important here is not only the set's bonuses, but the stats on the artifacts themselves. I tried to go for pieces that had crit damage, crit rate, attack, and elemental mastery. Not so much elemental mastery because of Sucrose, but some. And the results of this combination showed me numbers that I actually wanted, especially using the 5-star sword Wolf's Gravestone, which increases attack by 20% on hit, and attacks made on enemies with less than 30% HP triggers a 40% increase for all party members every 12 seconds. Now, this ability is cool if you're fighting a group of enemies and you time your attacks properly to get the extra buff, but normally I didn't. But when I did, I definitely could see the results. But I know you're asking, what if you don't have the Wolf's Gravestone? Well, the prototype Amulet does pretty much the same thing. Actually, I think if I had a stronger version of the prototype Amulet, it might actually do better, because during the testing with the Amulet, which mine is only level 55 with 0 refinement, I did see crit damage numbers as high as 11k. The Wolf Gravestone I have is 0 refinement, but it's level 64. So what is it that deals the actual damage? Higher attack or higher elemental mastery? From the outside, it looks like elemental mastery will be the one thing that decides how hard CHONGYUN's elemental attacks hit when combined with elemental reactions. So I tested that theory by switching up and using the Wanderer's Troop 2-piece set, which grants a plus 80 elemental mastery, as well as coupled with other artifacts that also raise elemental mastery, like you can see here, 2 pieces from the Berserker set. So in theory, this sounds like a perfect match. Crit, extra crit rate, plus extra elemental reaction damage. This with the Wolf's Gravestone should hit the hardest, but it didn't. I saw big numbers, bigger than when I just used Noblest set, but not as big as with the 2-piece Gladiator and 2-piece Berserker. So I then decided to try out full Gladiator, both because people said that it works best on CHONGYUN and because of the Gladiator bonus, 18% attack increase for the 2-piece set, and the 4-piece set damage increase. Now, this did put up some damaging numbers, but not like what I wanted to see, and not as good as the Gladiator plus Berserk set. So then I wondered if Berserk gear was not just the overall answer. So I put on all my best pieces of Berserker gear, and while this hits hard with his abilities, harder than normal, I didn't see any ridiculous increases. It was just a tad bit lower than my best set. It was then that I came to the final conclusion that because of the specific stats on my Berserker artifacts and Gladiator artifacts combined, they made the best match for my CHONGYUN. Set bonuses are all well and good and will provide increases they suggest, but if you have substats that just don't complement what you're trying to go for, you won't hit as hard. Now, for those of you who don't have Sucrose, you for certainty have Lisa or Barbara. Now, I tried this setup with Barbara using the Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers, and while it was tough to get the buff from the character switching timed right because she was my healer, I eventually got to do nearly the same damage. Well, nearly the same, alright, because Sucrose, she adds that, extra oomph. Now, finally, as a last resort to make CHONGYUN hit harder, you can increase his own personal damage by using consumables. In this example, I use a Frosting Essential Oil that you can craft at the alchemy table, which raises cryo damage by 25% for 300 seconds, as well as a meal called the Adeptus Temptation, a 5-star dish that raises attack by 316 and his crit rate by 10%. Doing this saw drastically different numbers, almost scoring 20k crit damage on his abilities. So then the question really becomes, does elemental mastery matter more, or crit damage matter more, or is it just attack all you really need? Let me know what your thoughts about this are down in the comments section. And remember, guys, if I said something wrong or understood something wrong and stated it in a manner which is simply not true, I apologize. And it isn't intentional. Now, if this video was able to help you in any way, shape, or form, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. And if you like Genshin Impact and want to see more gameplay on it, gameplay guides or whatever, subscribe to this channel for more. And since you're already here anyway, why don't you try out one of these other videos, because I'm sure one of them will be even more help. Thank you guys for watching and have a great rest of your day. Peace out.